What's up? This is Robert Smetana with another short science video to help you better understand and treat acne. So today I want to try to answer the question whether different racial groups are affected differently by acne. Before we get started though, I feel that it's necessary to address the terminology. I will use the term race or racial group here and not ethnicity, mostly in accordance with the US Census Bureau and the US National Institutes of Health. The reason is that although these terms, race and ethnicity, have a large overlap, it seems to be the prevailing opinion in the English scientific literature that ethnicity rather groups people by shared culture and history, whereas race groups people by distinct physical characteristics, which is the aspect that we first want to focus on when it comes to different effects of acne. However, there is no commonly agreed upon definition of race and ethnicity, as well as the clear distinction between the two, and most commonly used definitions have some shortcomings. The reason is that especially the term race is heavily charged historically and requires delicate dealing to avoid further formation of prejudice and social conflicts. And secondly, because it is simply very difficult and complex biologically and genetically to group humans into any such categories. The reason for that is, as the Stanford Institute of Gendered Innovation writes, genetic differences within any designated racial group are often greater than differences between racial groups. Most genetic markers do not differ sufficiently by race to be useful in medical research. So what that means is that if you took, for example, one black and one white person and you analyzed their genes, they might be more similar genetically to one another than they are to another person of their own race. However, there are of course shared physical attributes within a racial group that might affect the risk for certain diseases. An easy example would be that whites are more at risk for sunburn than blacks because of their lighter skin due to the smaller amount of melanin pigments. So the dark skin of black people is a protective factor against sunburn, whereas the light skin of white people is a risk factor. And in the same way, some shared physical attributes might facilitate acne or protect against it. Alright, enough of genetics and terminology, let's get into today's topic. So, how do we best analyze whether different racial groups are affected differently by acne? We could, for example, look at the rate of acne in different countries. We could use this very comprehensive data set here from the Global Burden of Disease study. And here we see that countries with predominantly white populations, such as the United States, Australia, Germany, tend to have much higher rates of acne than countries with predominantly black or Asian populations, such as Angola, Kenya, China, or India. So that means that whites get acne more easily than blacks and Asians, right? No, it's not that easy. These countries might differ in many aspects that affect acne, such as healthcare system, diet, air pollution, stress levels, climate, etc. Also, acne might be harder to detect in blacks than it is in whites. Therefore, we don't know whether the differences in acne are due to biological differences between racial groups or due to these other factors, which in science are called confounding factors. So ideally, we want to study people of different racial groups that live at the same place and have the same lifestyle. And that's what this study did for the most part, at least. They analyzed people of different races that lived in the same cities. One limitation, though, they only looked at women. But they found that blacks and Hispanics had significantly more acne than Far East Asians, whites, and continental Indians. And this observation was consistent especially for blacks over all analyzed age ranges. The researchers write that this may suggest biological differences in acne predisposition among different races. African American women in our study were found to have larger and more visible pores than the other groups, supporting previous studies that showed that black subjects had greater gland pore size and sebaceous glands. So the thinking then goes that larger sebaceous glands might lead to increased sebum production, which then facilitates the clogging of the skin pores, which then leads to acne. But isn't it strange that blacks are supposed to be most prone to acne, but those countries primarily inhabited by blacks show much lower rates of acne than those countries primarily inhabited by whites? So there must definitely be other factors at play here. And in the next video, we will explore what really lies behind these differences. See you then. If you have any questions regarding acne or wishes for future videos, please post them in the comments below. I'll answer every question to the best of my abilities. Also, if you want to learn more about how to treat acne most effectively, or would like to support my work, you can check out the link in the description below to find my book or get a personal counseling session. In the book, I explain how to best fight acne focusing on diet, including recipes and shopping lists, but also explaining supplements, skincare, and medications. All information is strictly science-based, but easy to understand. Thank you so much for watching, stay positive, and remember, you're not alone with this. See you next time.